All right, Lagos, it is 17 minutes gone past 5. You tuned in to the marketplace on a Monday evening. Well, my name is Joy Urea, and on the marketplace, it's always an exciting conversation that we have, especially when it comes to revenue. What are we going to be doing? How are we going to make sure that things are on a level? Well, having this conversation with me this evening is none other than David Gwatau. Good evening, David. Good to have you with me this Monday evening.
Hi, good evening. Nice to be here again. Yes.
All right, Lagos. As always, you get to share your thoughts and well, chime in because we're talking about the impact um, of how low oils are affecting Nigeria's revenue. Well, it, it just seems like when we think that we'll be getting a break, things aren't looking up in any way. But let me even get to you because I know that Trump had to head to the Middle East, talk about all the trade, oil, and everything in between.
Yeah.
What are we expecting from Donald Trump's visits to the Middle East this week?
Okay, thank you, ZB. Great question, right? I'm sure everybody is, trying to find out what exactly is he trying to achieve. We saw trade talks with China, trying to fix their trade issues. But ultimately, I think it's not surprising. I believe he will be spending most of his time in Saudi Arabia. Um, we know that he has a standing relationship with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman.
Right.
Coming riding on the relationship built from his first term as president.
Mm.
So I think mostly these discussions will be around investments. We've heard about Saudi Arabia have actually pledged about 1 trillion US dollar investments, in the US markets. We've also and of course, we also believe that, with Saudi Arabia standing as a focal point
Mm-hmm.
for mediation around global trade tensions, especially, being a neutral ground for discussions with Russia, and between Russia and Ukraine trade tensions. I believe that that's something that will be on the table for discussions.
Right.
Also, the influence that Saudi Arabia has among Arabian nations, example is Iran, and we know that the US have, Trump specifically has,
Mm-hmm.
he has some kind of ambitions towards Iranian oil. So uh, that would also be part of the conversation, of course. This is just me thinking out loud. Yeah.
Well, who knows? It might just be what it is you're thinking. And with Trump, they say anything can just happen last minute
Exactly.
because he's actually looking at how he's going to improve the U.S. Economy basically. So whatever it is that will make it better is what he's looking out for. But I don't know. Some would say that it seems like he's winning. He's getting the things that he wants in place. And that makes me wonder, is he really winning?
Okay.
Because he seems to be getting his wish for lower oil prices.
Well, I personally, I really don't think that lower oil prices is much of a win for the US
Win.
economy. Exactly,
Okay.
because of course, the US are also, as are the standing biggest producers of oil in the world. So of course,
Mm,
it would be, if oil prices are elevated, then they'll be benefiting the most from elevated oil prices.
hmm.
However, of course, I know that he had, Trump had pushed for lower oil prices, pushing
Right.
OPEC to increase productions, and so I believe he just wanted it in a point where it will be settled, maybe. And I'm sure right now, I think it is way below where he expected it to be. So I don't think it's really much of a win for the US. Yeah.
Well, mm, might not necessarily be the win-win that he's looking at, but they say a win is a win in any way, shape, or form in which you look at it. But
But he's
hey,
winning in the sense that he has been able to bring, the global leaders to the table to discuss and to negotiate
well,
better
well,
trade
that's
terms. for the US.
I agree with you on that one. Yes, he's bringing everyone to the table and we're all having this conversation. That's what he's really about. If it
Yeah,
will be the win he's looking at the end of the day, that's another, kettle of fish entirely.
exactly.
But I know you've mentioned that, yes, everyone's on the table, but does this um, hurt the Middle East, seeing that it's a region that produces oil, basically. This is what they also thrive on. And if lower oil prices is what we're experiencing at the moment, is this something that's going to be affecting shape or form?
So, yes, I would say, of course, especially for countries that are Middle Eastern countries that's just
Mm-hmm.
like Nigeria depend on crude oil revenue as a big chunk of their revenue, right? Uh,
Mm,
including the likes of Saudi Arabia, right? Iran and other Middle Eastern nations that produce crude oil. Um, so yeah, of course, it's going to be, but I believe that a couple of these countries, like Saudi Arabia for one,
mm-hmm.
where I believe Trump will be spending most of his time on this trip. I think
Right.
we have quite a diversified economy as well. It's not just the oil production. So that should be able to provide some kind of buffers in terms of the darts they will be experiencing from lower crude oil prices. Yeah.
Mm, okay. Okay. So now that we've left the Middle East, let's come back home. Um, and I say come back home because we are also experiencing low revenue in this oil prices. Last week, whilst I was talking with Reuters, I think it was at 60. I don't know
Okay.
what it, I don't know what exactly the rates are today, but let's not even get into that. But naturally, you're thinking as a Nigerian, okay, lower oil prices. Wouldn't that also translate to cheaper um diesel or
Petroleum
PMS?
products, right?
Because hey, we have this in our backyard. How come we're still paying some ridiculous amount? It's lower out there. Shouldn't it also affect the prices once it translates to the end product?
Yeah, I think that's it's not a I mean that line of thought cannot be faulted at all. It's rational
Right.
to think like that, of course. Um, these products are direct derivatives from crude oil. So if you have crude oil being the raw material at a cheaper price,
Mm-hmm.
then why not? Of course. And I believe that the refiners, if they're being honest, will tell you that yes, I mean for them even the cost at which you get PM, the crude oil
All
is
right.
lower. So of course, I think earlier maybe when we start to see the decline in crude oil prices, so I'll say early April, right?
Okay.
Um, so that's following the tariff implementation of the sweeping tariffs after Liberation Day. We could see Dangote Industries actually dropped down pump prices, if I
Right.
recall clearly,
Mm-hmm.
to
Yes.
where it currently sits at about 890.
Mm-hmm.
So that I believe that was meant to take it was meant to take cognizance of the lower crude oil prices in the markets. And
Okay.
we should also remember that of course what we're buying as refined products of course are at a premium, right? They are premium commodities, of
Mm-hmm.
course, way more expensive than crude, of course.
Mm.
So I know you might the change might not be as you would
As
expect
the
it
ah,
exactly,
okay.
but then of course those
But
small
there's
prices,
something,
yeah, those small
we might
prices, right?
not get to 500 naira per liter or even 150.
Because they cannot, even if crude oil reduce drops in price, the cost of
Mhm.
refining would not change, right? It's still the same cost
Right,
of refining, and of
there's
course
still that to
these refiners
factor
have to
in.
make their money.
Mhm. Which is why I guess is why we haven't heard any recent price cuts as we've been hearing previous ones, even though the oil prices are dwindling. We are not expecting any price cuts anytime soon because of hey, The refining costs are there. These people they did not build those refineries just for decoration. It is
Exactly.
supposed to yield some profit at the end of the day. Anyway, on the other hand, how badly will Nigeria's revenues be for the oil prices as we've well, it's prices in the 60s and what we have right now.
Yeah.
How badly hit are we?
So I think it's quite significant. Government's projection for revenue was about 75 US dollars per barrel. And
Right.
currently, as at my last check today, that was this morning, I think it was about
Okay.
62, it was trading at $62 per barrel, you
Oh
know.
my days.
So we talk about a spread of about 12, yeah, 12 $12, right? And so I mean that's quite significant. But I mean also we've seen oil prices start to
Right.
pick up again,
Get some.
especially on the back of trade talks with China, US trade talks with China. Um,
Yes, I saw
yeah,
that one as well.
exactly. So but I'm sure by close of business today, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure it would have ticked higher, so crude oil prices will be higher. So, depending on the landscape of global events, we
Mhm.
might actually see, I mean, crude oil prices might pick up to, I mean, where it was before, maybe probably not where it was before, but, it would not be,
Something significant.
it will be as low as
Mm.
right now.
All
Pretty,
right.
yeah.
All right. And your outlook for oil prices for the rest of the year, what does it look like? Did you get
So,
that?
yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
did. I did.
Okay.
And
You had to take that sigh.
yes,
Hmm.
because I
Okay.
mean, it's been shifting, right? The goalpost has been
Mm.
shifting. I mean, we had an earlier projection for oil prices,
Right.
but then Trump came with his tariffs, and everybody's trying to adjust and fix things up. And then now we're hearing that okay, things are slowing down, the tariffs are beating and all of that. So I think things remain quite uncertain. All right,
Okay.
there's a lot of uncertainty, and apparently any decision Trump makes right now could steer the
Affects.
markets any direction.
Mm.
So, but I mean, currently we still, I mean, for now, I'll say we expect crude oil prices to, probably close around the 60 levels for this year.
Mm.
Give or take, depending on geopolitical geopolitical tensions and other interplays, including the demand, because of
Right.
course we one of the factors that pushed down our forecast for crude oil was
Hmm.
the lower expectations from demand. So,
Okay.
just depending on these interplays, we might see,
What will play out?
prices around 60, between 60 to $70 per barrel.
All right. Ooh, thank you so much, David, for sharing all this insight. Hopefully, after maybe within the week we'll nations and the oh might just we might just eventually also see a slight increase, and then we'll be able to get back to winning ways on this on this side of the divide.
We really hope so. It will do a lot for Nigeria.
Indeed. Well, Lagos, thank you so much also sharing your thoughts and being a part of the marketplace. And well, it does continue on the other side. But yes, we'll be talking about Visa's value of acceptance report and every interesting thought on that side. So don't go nowhere. Stay tuned to Smooth 98.1. Accessible, informed. All right, David, thank
Right.
you so much. Need to
Thanks, Izzy.
jump
Thanks
off
for
real
having me.